This is WFYI News Now. It's Monday, December 15th, and I'm Sarah Neal Estes. Here are today's top stories around central Indiana. The rift among Republican lawmakers in Indiana deepens as State Senator Liz Brown steps back from a leadership position. The move comes after last week's vote against mid-cycle redistricting. Brown, who is from Fort Wayne, said she and other senators who voted to approve the map were devastated. She added her caucus has failed the president, Congress, and voters. Brown will retain her seat that she's held for more than a decade. That state Senate vote last week defeated mid-cycle redistricting 19-31. April Rickard reports Southern Indiana lawmakers were divided on the issue.
Republican Senate Majority Floor Leader Chris Garton gave a passionate speech before the Senate voted down a redistricting bill. He said it would have forged a partnership between Indiana and Washington and allowed the state to help support conservative measures nationally.
Some will say these maps are political. Let me be clear. You're damn right they are. Political policy is political.
Republican Senator Gary Byrne and Republican Representatives Karen Engelman and Zach Payne also supported it. Democratic House member Wendy Danchesser and Republican Ed Clear were opposed. I'm April Rickard in Jeffersonville.
Farmers are having a tough year amid tariffs and rising costs. Indiana producers say aid from the Trump administration may hold them over until planting season. The Trump administration announced a $12 billion investment for American farmers. Almost all of it will go toward row crops such as corn and soybeans. That announcement was a relief for Alan Dunn, president of the Indiana Corn Growers Association.
I was happy to see that was coming. I know the industry as a whole really needs the help.
The payments are intended to be a short-term bridge for farmers. Exact amounts have not yet been calculated, and those payments will go out this spring. The Indiana Education Department recently announced an infusion of $75 million to support students. Zach Castle has more on how those philanthropic and state dollars will be used.
The Lilly Endowment will drop $40 million into the pot. Indiana will cover the rest. State Education Secretary Katie Jenner says the new funding will help improve access to high-quality education for, quote, every child, no matter their zip code. The Indiana Capitol Chronicle reports one large chunk will support evidence-based literacy programs. Another will expand the Summer Learning Labs network, which was created to address learning loss from the pandemic. Several other programs will also receive funding. Jenner says the $75 million partnership with Lilly is one of the most significant public-private education investments in Indiana history. I'm Zach Castle.
Indiana's first Bobcat season in decades is already over, but the work to gather data on bobcats in the state has just started. That data could settle a long debate between trappers and wildlife advocates, Rebecca Thiel reports.
The Indiana Department of Natural Resources recently ended Indiana's bobcat season early after trappers caught the state's quota of 250 bobcats. The season was supposed to run from early November to late January or until a quota was reached. While that might indicate Indiana has a healthy population of bobcats, Jerry Ann Albers with the DNR says the agency needs more information to say for sure, like how many traps people set out over how many days.
It's even more important to know how much effort people were expending to get there, because that gives us some feel for people were having to work really hard to catch a bobcat, or actually it was pretty easy. The bobcats were doing pretty well and people were catching them really fast.
The DNR plans to survey people with bobcat licenses in the coming weeks and release its findings from the season in the spring or summer. I'm Rebecca Thiel.
And in sports this weekend, the Indianapolis Colts lost to the Seattle Seahawks 16-18 yesterday. The Colts were in the lead for most of the game, but in the last quarter, the Seahawks took the lead and won. The Colts play the San Francisco 49ers next Monday, December 22nd, at Lucas Oil Stadium. And Fernando Mendoza, the enthusiastic quarterback of number 1 Indiana, won the Heisman Trophy on Saturday night. He becomes the first Hoosier to win college football's most prestigious award since its inception in 1935. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Zach Bundy with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Kendall Antron produced our music. And if you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to get the latest updates from our newsroom anytime. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.